Let's see how we can actually attack this summative assessment and get some of it done. Remember that we're going to start everything that we do right there in Google Classroom. So let's go first to Google Classroom. Let's take a look at what we've got to work on. Here we are in Google Classroom. We have a summative assessment, MS.MA.4B to do. There's our summative assessment file. As you can see, this will actually get created for you when you open it. And we have our resource guide, the two things we absolutely need. Let's take a look at the summative assessment first. Remember that what we're expected to do is provide an example for each of these skills right here. Okay. Sometimes you might be able to combine some of them together. Sometimes we might have to do them separately. But if we can combine them together, we will do so. One of the things that we should also pay attention to is that this numbering system, this Common Core numbering system, is common to what you'll find in the resource guide. So these first three, 8NSA1, are common to this 8NSA1 right here in your resource guide. Okay, you can see some skills right here. If you can't find what you're looking for under the Khan Academy skills, you could of course look at the lesson, or you could use any one of the other multiple resources that we have knocking around up here, or of course class notes as well. Now if you remember, in class we discussed about what is a decimal number. If you remember, we looked at multiple different number systems. You might be familiar with the binary system. Now, the binary system, zeros and ones, right? Only two different possibilities. How many digits do you have that can fit in each place value? Well, what we're used to is the decimal number system. You have 10 digits that can fit in every place value. Of course, we should give examples of this. That's one of the things that we're required to do. So examples would be 0.4 or 1, because 1 is equal to 1.00000. You can see the decimals in there. Other examples should be repeating decimals. Let's take a look at this. We're going to showcase this insert equation function. And we're going to use 0. And let's put in the bar there, 0.43 repeating an irrational number. Let's say, let's go with the Greek letter pi, which is approximately equal to, let's use the approximation sign right there, approximately equal to 3.14. All of these are examples of decimal numbers. We're done. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is showing a decimal expansion eventually repeats for rational numbers. Now, if you remember in our classroom lessons, you'll notice that rational numbers are basically fractions. Okay, so that every fraction can be written as a decimal. Right? Show that decimal expansion eventually repeats for fractions. Well, if we look carefully at our resource guide, we can see right there, well, writing fractions is repeating decimals is the question we're looking at. We can open that right up and we can do a question on it. 27 divided by 32. Now at this point, it's probably a good idea to grab your pencil and paper, pen and paper, whatever your fancy is. I'm going to grab a pencil because I actually like pencils. Right? And as we fly through the air, we're going to look at 27 divided by 32. That's a fraction. 27 divided by 2. We want to write this as a decimal. The easiest way of doing it is, of course, saying that we're going to divide 27 by 32 using long division. Right? There's 27 divided by 32 right there. I do like to do my long division by providing a times table of my divisor. Right, so I'm going to provide a 32 times table. So I'm going to provide my 32 times table right there. There it is. Okay, and I'm going to start dividing. Well, 32 does not go into 27. That's a 0. Look at that. There's a 0 and a point. There's our points matched up. So we're going to start with 270. So there we go. 270 is what, right in there. Okay, we're going to be looking at 256 as our option to subtract from. Okay, and that goes in. Let me see, 8 times. Look at that. 8 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at that. Okay, we're going to do a quick subtraction. And carry down the extra 0. Remember, you can have as many zeros as you like right here. Okay. We're now looking at 140. We can see it's somewhere in here. That's number 4. That's 4 of them. And that's 128. 128. Let's plug that right in there. Let's do a subtraction. And we're going to have a 2 right there and a 12. Ooh, look at that. So now we're looking at this one right here. 3 left over. Carry down another 0. And we're looking at 96. Let's do a subtraction. $240 is the next one we're looking at. There's 240. We're now looking at 7. That's 224. We're going to subtract. And here we go again. There's a 6. That's a 116. We carry down a 0 and see what happens when we got 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, look at that. 160 exactly. That's a 5. It stops. It terminates. It's called a terminating decimal. Look at that. It stops right there. 160, 160. If we were to subtract 160, we get a remainder of 0. Awesome. That's not a repeating decimal. That's a terminating decimal. That's a terminating decimal. Well, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to go straight back to my Khan Academy, and I'm going to put in that answer. There's my 0.84375. I'm going to check that answer. Look at that. Awesome, I got it correct. Now here's what I should do next. Shift, Control, Command, 4. Ooh, there's crosshairs. Writing fractions is repeating decimals. Look at this. See what I'm gathering in here. I'm gathering the title. Writing fractions is repeating decimals. I'm gathering the question, right? I'm gathering the answer. And finally, I'm gathering this little note that tells you you got it correct, whether it's the check marks or this new star that Khan Academy gives you. You should have it all. Look at that. I'm going to grab all that onto my clipboard. That's copy, and I'm going to paste it right in there. I'm going to say, well, I did this. Well, I can actually scrunch that down a little bit smaller. And you know what else I'm going to do? I don't really want to write out all my work all over again. Already did all this work on paper. Open up my photo booth. 3, 2, 1. Cheese! Look at that. There's my work right there, and let's drag it in. Here we go. Drag it right in, plug it right there, make it roughly the same size as my screenshot. So there you have it. There's writing fractions and repeating decimals. I got the question right. I did the work. I'm happy about it. Yes, let's move on to the next one. This is the skill that we're looking for right here, converting repeating decimals to fractions. If I were to do every single question in this video, it would be a very, very long video. It's already getting too long. Understanding that the square root of 2 is irrational. This is the one where in class we made a number line. Right? Here's this number line right here. I know that the square root of 1 is 1. Okay? So I'm going to put in the square root of 1 right there at 1. The square root of 4 is 2. That's all we need. Understanding that the square root of 2 is irrational. And why? Because it's a prime. All of the rest can really be covered using Khan Academy examples. So I would suggest you take it from there. Enjoy.